if you're in a slump, how do you get out of one? I will admit that I am feeling at least like I'm in a slump. I probably am in a slump if I feel that way. And in order to get out of it, sometimes I just need to organize my thoughts, or I need to be more intentional with my actions. And so I wanted to break down at least how I think about getting out of a slump. I'm kind of coming up with this as my thoughts just come. This isn't something I necessarily follow every time, but maybe something that I bring up here and show you could be helpful to you in getting out of a slump. So what is a slump exactly? I think when you feel like you're in a slump, you might not be feeling as happy as you feel like you should be. And I think if you're not feeling happy, it could mean a couple different things. So one way is that you aren't living with integrity. And when I say you aren't living with integrity, that could be taken a few different ways. One way is that you're not doing what you say you're going to do. So I think that's one word of integrity. But I think another way is, and this is maybe more applicable in this situation, is you aren't doing the things you know you should be doing to reach your goals, right? And I want to really go with the second definition because I think this applies more to a slump. I think they're not mutually exclusive, but I do think you could do both of them at the same time. But I want to talk about this second one here more. So you aren't doing the things you know you should be doing to reach your goals. And what's really important here is in order to, I guess, live with integrity in this way, one, you need to know what your goals are. You might need some clarity on the direction. And then number two would be taking action steps that you know are moving you in the right direction, or at least you hope. So if you don't know your goals, it's really hard for you to be feeling like you're making progress and having an impact in a way that's important to you. And most people never set really clear goals for themselves. And in another instance, maybe you have set goals for yourself, but you've just forgotten what they are, or you've moved your focus to something else, and you need to remind yourself. And that's maybe a different signal should go off in your brain of like, well, why am I forgetting about this goal? Is this thing even that important to me? That's something to consider, but it is important that you remind yourself what your goals are and that you create an environment, whether it be in your work, at home, in your office where you work, that's constantly reminding you of what's important to you. If it really is important to you, though, you shouldn't have a hard time remembering it. It should be something that hopefully pulls you. You don't have to push yourself to do it, and you should maybe reconsider setting your goals. So set some goals if you don't have them. If you feel like you've lost track, reevaluate, is this actually what I want? And then if it is, then set up your environment to get more clarity. And then, are you taking action steps that you know or you think are moving you in the right direction? So that is something that we have complete control over. We can all devise a plan and think, hey, this is, to the best of my knowledge, how I can move forward in my goals. And if you don't know what the right direction is, then there are books, there's YouTube videos, there's people who have done that before, who can help you be confident or more confident in your actions. Okay, so are you doing those two things? If you feel like you're in a slump, it's probably because you feel like you're not living with integrity. Okay, and this is how I'm defining it. Now, number two, you might also feel in the slump, or you might feel down or not happy because, and I steal this from Tony Robbins, or at least I heard it from him, and maybe he stole it from somebody else. But it's when your life conditions don't meet your expectations. So let's say, for example, you expect to have six-pack abs and you don't have six-pack abs. Then you're going to be bummed out because you think you should have six-pack abs. But if you think that you should wake up and, you just are out of shape, you don't feel great, but then you actually have six-pack abs, you're going to be ecstatic, right? On the flip side, if you think you should have six-pack abs, and then you do, then you're going to be content. So there's all these different expectations, and then like your actual life conditions that can really drive maybe how content you are, how happy you are, and I think that can also relate to a slump. So when your life conditions don't meet your expectations, you will just say feel unsatisfied. When they do, you feel satisfied. When life conditions, so how you are now, exceed your expectations, you're ecstatic, you're happy, right? And when you don't meet your expectations, and you feel like you don't have control over that situation, you get a little feeling of helplessness. You might feel a little depressed. Okay, and I think that feeling can also be what a slump is, okay? So now that we've defined, well, what does a slump maybe mean? Then how do we get out of it? Well, one is we set goals and we remind ourselves of those goals. And then we take action steps that we think are moving us in the right direction, because that's how we're defining it, right? So that means I need to maybe reaffirm my goals, create action steps to reach them, and then probably put them on my calendar, right? or set new goals. And then the other way would be, hey, where in my life currently do I feel satisfied, ecstatic, helpless, and underwhelmed? And I think there's 4 categories that you can use to score yourself in this. I like to steal from a guy who I followed for a long time, Ty Lopez. He talked about love, or health, wealth, love, and happiness. Health, of course, could be mental, physical. Wealth is mainly financial. Love, so that could be romantic, but that could also be family, friends, so your relationships basically. And then you've got happiness, which in a lot of ways is a good balance of the top 3, right? So you could have all the wealth in the world, but if you don't have health or love, then that's going to affect your happiness score, so to speak. So what I would do now is come through and I would say, all right, 1 through 10, or maybe 1 through 5. Let's do 1 through 10. Score yourself in these categories. And so health, I'd say like mental, physical. So how would I judge mental health? So I think my overall how I look at myself, how I perceive myself, is pretty important. Like when I lay my head on the pillow at night, what are the thoughts that are going through my mind? Are they positive? Are they overall negative? Um, I'd probably say like I'm a 6. So it could be better. It's not like terrible, but it's definitely a 6. Physical. So again, this comes down to what do you expect? What's your 10 mean and what's your 1 mean? If you're a 10, that could be different to everybody, but it's all relative based off of what you believe you should have. I'd say physical, I'm probably also 6.5. I'd say like if I went to the doctors and you did all the tests, you'd say, yeah, you're pretty healthy. But I'd say in relative to my workouts, doing cardio, I'm probably slacking there. I mean, I am doing some things, but it's definitely not super intentional. I'm definitely not getting enough daily activity. However, my nutrition has been really, really good. I have been pretty intentional with that and I've really been simplifying it. So I'm actually going to make this a 7. So I think for me, my end is more on the physical movement and more than the nutrition. Okay. So we'll give this a score of a 6.5 total. Now, if we come down here, we go to wealth, financial. So for me, again, what's your 1, what's your 10? Kind of, you've got that gauged in your mind. I'd say I feel pretty good here. There's always room for improvement. So again, it's kind of hard to give a 10. But I'll say like I'm above average. I feel very good about the financial situation right now. So I'll give that an 8 overall. I can't think of any subcategories currently. Love and relationships, so romantic, family, friends. Honestly, I feel in a pretty good place in those areas. I think where I could improve would be spending more time with friends, being more intentional, and spending more time with different people. I think just spending time with the same people, not that, nothing against those people, but it's nice to interact with others. You learn different things, you get different experiences, and those interactions are just more unique. So I feel pretty good here. I'm gonna say a 7 right now. And then finally, there. So you've got kind of these 3 scores here. So if you take the average of the 3, so 6.5, 8, and 7. So if I will just do this, 6.5 plus 8 plus 7. So 21 divided by 3. So a 7.16. Okay. So 7.16. And again, I'm just kind of doing this on the fly and thinking my thoughts out loud and trying to organize them. I do want to come back here to the wealth category. And the reason is because I think when I gave myself a score of 8, you can look at the results at the end of the day. Hey, like how, at the end of the month, how do you feel about the money that you're creating to then support yourself, your family? But I also think, how are you creating that wealth is important. And for me, you want to do something that inspires you, that drives you, that again is pulling you instead of you having to push yourself. And I have that, but I think I've been a little distracted, just with like other things as well. So I might give myself a 7 here. So maybe, I don't know if we'll call it like inspiration, and then like the actual like financial statement. So I would do the financial statement here at this, but I would say my inspiration's at a 6, which would give me a 7. And so if I did 7 plus 6 plus 8, 21 divided by 3, so we'd be at a score of 7. Okay. So if I feel like I'm in a slump and I'm at a 7, then I need to look at, well, where are my low areas? Because if you think 7 out of 10, I mean, that's a C in school, but it's I would say for me, it's the inspiration piece. So I want to dig into this. And then for me also, it looks like I've got some opportunity here, like on the mental, like, why is my mental affected? And I think that they actually coincide together, because so much of my life and my mission and my happiness is determined by what I do for work. And again, really love what I do. I think I think for me is it actually does take work to be motivated and be inspired. You have to be intentional about it. And I think I have been taking the time as of recent to be more intentional with some of the work I'm doing. So, what does that mean? How do I become more intentional? Well, it does come back up here to reaffirm my goals, create new action steps to reach them, and put them on my calendar. So I guess my next steps here would be to, well, one, it would be interesting to do a time audit. So maybe taking a day or two, and every hour writing down what I did did in that hour, and then reverse engineering it and saying, hey, like, where is my time going? From there, I would ask myself, what's the most important work, meaning effective, that I can be doing, and then what's the most interesting work I can be doing, and try and find a nice balance of those two. Then based off of that, I should make a fresh to-do list or project list of those items, and then I should schedule them on my work calendar accordingly. So just by going through and speaking this out, and organizing your thoughts, I feel like that can help you move out of a slump, but it actually doesn't. A lot of the times we will plan things, or we'll read a book, or we'll do things that seem or feel like action, but this is actually all fake. This is something that can make me feel good or make you feel good, but actually nothing changes or gets done. The only thing that will change your results and the way you feel is by actually taking the action steps that you've laid out here. So the work starts here. If you're going through a slump right now, realize that the work starts here. Now, can organizing this or reading a book or doing something, can it get you thinking? Can it give you some slight motivation? Can it drive you to that initial action? Absolutely, but you have to continue to do that action if you want to continue to stay out of a slump. I think we all know that. I'm also just saying this to remind myself. So anyways, I hope this is helpful. I know it's just been helpful for me. That's basically why I did it. And I wanted to really try this new app that I heard about called Excalidraw. That's what it's called, and it kind of makes nice handwriting. It just kind of looks like a whiteboard. You can also do cool, pictures and diagrams and whatnot if you want to share your ideas. So, all right. Hope you enjoyed. Talk to you later.